Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Take It to the Hizzy Fantasy Football, TITTH number 195. I'm your host, Justin Bruni. I got Stephen Hammond, my co-host, with me this Monday evening. Happy Monday, sir. How are we doing?
Yeah, happy Monday, Justin. Trying to make up for this weekend. It was a little bit of a rough one, but we build from here.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a good Saturday, had a good Friday on the betting. On the tickets were great. Yesterday, not so much. Very bad at football. 4-5 on the day. Haven't taken a loss like that or a big hit like that in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. So had a really good run going there, all sports collectively, but that kind of came crashing down yesterday. What were your highs and lows so far of week 8, and what do you need tonight, this evening on a Monday Night Football?
So a low was that Bengals loss to the Jets. That one, I feel like a lot of people kind of fell into that. Just shows in the NFL, like 1 week you beat the Ravens, and then the next you're losing to the backup quarterback of the Jets. So, and then tonight I'm needing a 20-point game out of Daniel Jones. Hoping we can get it. Chiefs defense, they're kind of shaky. So maybe we can get a rushing touchdown. That'd help me get that number.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think you might be able to do it. Or is that a 4-point league for passing touchdowns?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, that would definitely help then. That would definitely help. My lows, there were many. I started Mo Alley Cox and Emmanuel Sanders on the same team, on the same roster, and I'm going to win. So that's like a high and a low right there. Kenny Gainwell, Manny Sanders, Mo Alley Cox, like I said. Kyler Murray Thursday night, stuck. Even I'm going to win with him. I win his bad performance again, just kind of like those high-low moments there. Bengals not covering, like you mentioned. And I don't know what got into me. I don't know what I was thinking, but I put real money, like a currency, on the Lions to win. Is there anything left up here? Like, I don't know what I was doing. I watched. I mean, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. Like, we watched how great they played, how aggressive they played in Los Angeles, and then they come home and they're like, you know what? That was really hard. I don't want to do anything this week. That was the vibe I was getting from the Lions. I know Khalif Raymond was a popular low for a lot of people this week. He gave us that confidence in the past couple of weeks, or past 4 out of 5 weeks, where he seemed like he would provide reliable production. Yeah. I had him on my bench, so that was cool. That was nice. But still, like a lot of these little moments, especially like Manny Sanders, Kenny Gainwell, I know those were big factors. Where did Boston Scott and Jordan Howard come from? What in the world, Nick Sirianni? We can't be friends anymore. You cannot sit with us. I'm sorry. It's over. Yeah, I mean, I'm ready to get back into it tonight. The highs, I guess I should mention more. Darrell Henderson and the Titans cashed in the money line. Thank you, football gods. Oh, my goodness. I had to get like some sort of winning on that one. That was like my only win out of football yesterday. I doubled down with the Dame Harris and James Robinson prop I gave you guys yesterday. Of course, James Robinson gets hurt, and Dame Harris puts up break. 2. Yeah, it's really tough. But let's dive into it tonight, Steve. What are your props for this evening? And we're gonna get going here.
Yeah, so I got Devontae Booker anytime touchdown. I think the Chiefs run D. I think he can get one in there, especially with a team that they're gonna have to be getting points any way they can. I'm sure, they got a lot of wide receivers in the mix. I think the best value is just going with that running back here. And then I got Mahomes under 22 rushing yards, 22 and a half, I believe, because he really took a hard hit in that game last week versus the Titans. And some of his errors and interceptions this year, he's been trying to do too much and not just taking some of those easier check downs or whatever it is. And so I think we see him stay in the pocket a little bit more and just try and live off his arm.
Okay. I like those a lot, especially the Booker prop. I have a Devontae Booker over 2.5 catches, 2.5 receptions, and I have Travis Kelce over 6.5 receptions. I think it's going to be a big night for Kelce this evening. All right, let's jump into our Monkey Knife Fight props. First up, we have the passing yards. So Patrick Mahomes versus Daniel Jones, of course. Patrick Mahomes is at 302 passing yards. Dan Jones is at 245. Sounds crazy. Most of my picks this week have been. I'm going to go under for Mahomes and over for Dan Jones. You can run on this Giants defense. They're a little bit better up against the pass, and Mahomes has only hit this number 3 out of 7 games so far. So there's a little bit less upside, and I do think they try to really get Darrell Williams rolling, try to protect the ball, and play some smart football. The narrative about them right now is that they're mistake-oriented offense. Mahomes is trying to do too much. I think they really try to divide and conquer here, get the running game involved, and I'll take under for Patrick Mahomes 302 passing yards. What do you think?
So I'm actually going to go Mahomes over, kind of because of that narrative that you just talked about, that this is going to also be a primetime game. Everyone's going to be watching. It's kind of a get-right game for them. So I think they'll rely on his arm more. They still are. I mean, they got Darrell Williams, I think, as their starting running back. So they're still, shaky in the backfield. So I like him to go over, and I also like Daniel Jones to go over. I like
Daniel Jones to go over. You just look at this defense for Kansas City. I mean, there's holes everywhere. Kansas City defense 26th up against the pass, 27th up against the run. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity here for these Giants.
Getting Sterling Shepard back, Kadarius Toney too. That'll be huge.
Speak of the Devils. First, we'll go with Toney first and then Shepard. But Tyreek Hill versus Kadarius Toney in a fantasy point matchup. Hill's got a big number here, 19.5, and Toney is at 13.5. Again, I'm going to go with Toney on the over. I'm going to go Hill with the under. I think, like I said before, it's a big Travis Kelce type of night. I think that Hill's really going to be utilized to open up the middle of the field and just clean early checkdowns to Kelce. So I'll take under for Hill. Could still get a touchdown and have a big night receiving and hit the under on that 19.5. And Toney, he has really emerged as a reliable target for Dan Jones. I think as long as he's good, as long as he's healthy, it sounds like he is, I would fire him up tonight in all fantasy aspects, and I would take him to hit the over 13.5 points. You agree, Steve?
Yep, I'm actually going the same for both of those. Toney, in one of my long shot parlays that I have tonight, he's in there to get all receiving yards over 100 receiving yards. So I think I was getting that at like plus 500 or something.
Okay.
So I like that. I mean, you've seen what he's been able to do. I do think that Sterling Shepard coming back into the mix might eat away at it a little bit. But I think he can have a big night, very shifty.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's looked really, really good too. Both those guys, Hill and Toney, they're just very smooth route runners. So firing them, well, of course you're firing up Tyreek Hill, but taking those props under on Hill and over on Toney, fire up Toney in all aspects tonight. Drafts, props, fantasy, whatever it is. All right, last one up here, we have Darrell Williams versus Sterling Shepard. Darrell Williams is at 58.5 rushing yards. Sterling Shepard at 55.5 receiving yards. Slam that Sterling Shepard prop over 55.5. I'd slam it at 65.5. He's hit over that number in every single game that he's been in healthy. I believe week 3 he was taken out early, but every other game that he's finished, he has gone over that prop. I'm even going to go over for Darrell Williams as well. A couple of weeks ago, they tried to give this guy like 21 carries. If they try to give him that same type of workload tonight, I expect him to go over that 58.5. Honestly, against this Giants defense, he could probably hit it with like 16 or 17 carries. So I'm going to go the over for both here. What do you think about these two, Darrell Williams and Sterling Shep?
Yeah, it's interesting because I like Sterling Shepard. I think he's like the number one target in that offense when he's in the game. But I think Daniel Jones and him are clicking, so I love that over. Williams, it's tough just because the production hasn't really been consistent from, he had a 27-point game, then a 62, then back to a 20. I do like him here against a soft Giants defense. He'll be right at that number. I'll go over. He gets 60 yards.
Overhits, overpays.
Yep.
Doesn't matter how close. All right, cool. Sounds like we're on the same page there. Let's jump into our game preview, which we may not be on the same page for, if I remember correctly yesterday. So we got the New York Giants coming in, road dogs, plus 10.5 on the spread, plus 400 on the money line. Over under is at 52 points. Kansas City Chiefs are laying minus 505 on the money line at home. Which direction you going here, Steve?
I'm actually going to take the Giants plus 10.5. I just think that's too large of a number for how the Chiefs have been playing lately. It is an Arrowhead, which does kind of move, sway me in one direction, but I think the Giants can get it done if they just, have less mistakes than the Chiefs.
Sure. Giants still going to be the Giants at the end of the day. I trust their offense to move the ball up and down the field. I would be interested in maybe taking them to cover in the first half, but I don't trust them across all 4 quarters. You kind of saw blinks of that up against the Carolina Panthers. Obviously, the Panthers defense is like light years better than the Chiefs right now. But I do believe that the Chiefs want to rebound, like you mentioned, on offense, but more importantly on defense. Like I really feel like they're going to have some creative looks tonight to attack the Giants early in this game. I think that the Giants will keep pace with them in this game, probably through halftime. But I see the Chiefs covering this one late in the third, somewhere in the fourth quarter. They're going to run away with it because they're going to keep their foot on the throttle. They're going to constantly be trying to push the ball downfield, and they're going to want to win big at home, like we had already mentioned. So I bought down the 10.5 down to 10. Mind you, I did the same thing with the Bengals this week, thinking it was an easy cover. But I trust the Chiefs offense. They're fourth in passing. That's still like, the biggest leverage in this game. Their top 5 passing offense. You have a Giants defense that's, bottom 5 or bottom 6, I should say, in the NFL. They rank 24th, or I'm sorry, 13th up against the pass, 24th up against the run. So even with that, I don't love their backfield. James Bradbury, Adoree Jackson, Julian Love. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to be able to tear him up. Get Kelsey involved early and often. That's going to, give a little bit more of Tyreek Hill upside late in the game. I think he'll hit some deep ones later in this one, but I think you're going to see a lot of Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes to start this game. I think I would love to see the odds for like scoring on the first drive. I think they're going to be very methodical and they're going to handle business at home tonight. 65% of the public is coming in on KC to cover, 35, of course, for the Giants, and 58% is on the over, the public. 58% of the public on the over. What do you think about the 52 points?
It's a little tall for me. I'm a little nervous that the Giants don't get enough going. So I'm gonna take the under tonight.
Okay. I like the over. I like a 34-24, 34-21. I think the Chiefs mean business. I think they're going to score a lot tonight. And obviously the defense still isn't great. So, allowing 21 to 24 points up against the Giants, I feel like that feels kind of natural. To me, it's just whether the Chiefs are going to, get right, be smooth on offense, limit the turnovers, and just move the ball downfield, just get into scoring position, whether it's field goals or touchdowns. So I'm going to take the over. I agree with you. I think it'll be close. I'm looking at like a total of like 55 to 58, hopefully 55, 56, somewhere in that range. So I like the over there, but I hear where you're coming from, especially on the Giants and the under. Could be just one of those games. Could be just another week of hell for the Chiefs here, but I don't know. I feel like the teams that they've been going against are a little bit stronger still than the Giants. I think they'll handle business tonight. All right, let's jump into our fantasy waiver wire. First up, Philadelphia Eagles running backs. We got Boston Scott. We got Jordan Howard. I'm not sure what happened to Kenny Gainwell. That was a nice, fun thing that we had there. Nick Sirianni. That was great. This little back and forth we had going on, how much we both loved him. Then you threw him in the doghouse like he's a piece of dirt. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Boston Scott, 45% of the snaps. Jordan Howard, I think it was around, I don't know why I didn't write the number down. I got Kenny Gainwell at 31%. I think he's around like 22%. Kenny Gainwell really finished off the game once they got up by so much on Detroit. Do either of these running backs interest you with Miles Sanders still out and Nick Sirianni's, public demolition of Kenny Gainwell this past Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, me included, I was high on Gainwell, and that really hasn't turned out here. But his usage has always been questionable. Even when Miles Sanders was in there, he'd put him in red zone and then never give him a carry, anything like that. I don't like Jordan Howard. I think he'll be very touchdown dependent. I don't think he'll get very many yards, if much. I think you're going to see a lot more Boston Scott. I do like Boston Scott, though, until there's some change in this backfield, whether it be Miles Sanders is back or Gainwell takes over. Just experienced, and I think he brings what the Eagles are looking for.
Yeah, doesn't have a connection to Sirianni, but go Eagles. Jordan Howard, I guess. Only 2% rostered for Jordan Howard, 19% for Boston Scott. Honestly, I'm staying away from the whole situation. Everybody's going to be touchdown dependent. I mean, you look at Boston Scott, 12 for 60, 2 touchdowns. Like those made his day, right? Like 12 for 60, it's all right. But in fantasy, it's not going to win you a week. Those 2 touchdowns absolutely were the case. Same thing for Jordan Howard, touchdown dependent, 12 for 57. Very similar production to Boston Scott this week. They have the Chargers on the books next week, and the Chargers have a huge hole in their rushing defense. Like, who would you start up against the Chargers, just knowing how bad they are up against the run? If you had to just pick one of 3,
probably Boston Scott next week.
Yeah, I don't want to do it. I'm staying away from this situation because you could you could overspend on Scott, you could underspend on Howard. Like, it's a very tough situation to gauge as far as who's going to get the production going forward or who's going to get the touches. So I'm not really that interested. I mean, obviously it's a big talking point, so we got to go over it. But yeah, I'm going to stay away from that backfield. Kenny Gainwell was my guy. I own him in a couple of spots. He put up goose eggs in a couple of spots. I outlasted one. I didn't win both, but I was able to get a win out of one of them. So I recommend staying away just because you're the rest of your league mates. There's going to be a duel for one of them. You don't want to get in a fob war over Boston Scott or Jordan Howard when Sanders will be coming back. We've already seen the Gainwell usage. I expect there to be some reversion of the Gainwell usage going forward, but by how much, I can't say.
So, okay, if you have to choose for next, I guess maybe not next week, when he's active, Adrian Peterson for the Titans or Boston Scott for the Eagles?
It's a good question. It would probably depend on the opponent. Let's just skip right to Jeremy McNichols and Adrian Peterson. So Jeremy McNichols, let's see, he had about 4.5 points this past week, mostly just receiving work. He didn't have any rushing attempts. They get the Rams next week, not a great matchup. So you would assume, like, against the Rams, McNichols might be used a little bit more in the passing downs, just because of that really tough upfront group for the Rams, the rushing defense. And then the following week they have New Orleans, so they really don't have a plus matchup until week 11 when they play Houston. That would be the week I'd want to start Adrian Peterson. Is week 11 at Houston. I'll put down a 2 touchdown props right now for him.
I like that.
Houston's terrible up against the run. Look what Darrell Henderson did this week. Look at what Connor and Edmonds did a couple weeks ago. Like, I've been throwing out my love player of the week up against Houston like pretty much every week, and they're just gonna just cash props, fantasy, whatever it is. Like, they're just killing up against their ground game. So, going into this next week, you're looking at the Titans, and like I said, they're playing the Rams. I would start McNichols over Peterson if they say he's going to play, but I have no idea if he will. I don't know if he's in game condition just yet, but Jeremy McNichols, 6% rostered on Yahoo right now. I wouldn't really spend a pretty penny on him. I mean, maybe you would have yesterday before finding out about Adrian Peterson, but now you're going to have splits between people targeting McNichols, people targeting Peterson. I think McNichols is the better play just because he's going to be more consistent on third down. AP isn't going to be moving the chains like Derrick Henry was. Maybe he does get those 3 or 4 yard gainers, but he's not taking, first down carries for first down. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like the Titans are going to be setting up for those third and shorts, maybe even a couple more third and longs. So yeah, I would be more interested in McNichols over Adrian Peterson right now. Also, just in NFL shape, like he's been in practice and conditioning, whether he's on the practice squad with the active roster, whatever it is, like he's just more acclimated right now to the NFL. All right, next up we've got spot start quarterbacks. We got Jameis Winston tearing an ACL. We got Zach Wilson still out for a while, and we have we had Cooper Rush come in, but I feel like Dak could be back next week, so we'll just kind of avert over him.
I think McCarthy said that.
So what do you think about the Saints situation? I mean, we saw Trevor Siemian come in. He did all right. He got a win. Saints walked away with a dub.
A big win.
He didn't look amazing, right? Like,
no, but a big in-division win against, the Buccaneers. That's, nothing to scoff at.
No, absolutely not. No, and that's definitely not what I'm doing. But I guess my question is if Taysom Hill is 100%, who do you go? Like, who do you target right now? Obviously Taysom Hill is probably owned by somebody. Someone probably had him on their bench or their IR, or maybe even picked him up to throw him on the IR, situation like that. So who would you rather tote out there? Let's just say you're the Saints. Like, do you go with a Trevor Siemian who can kind of give you those like better downfield looks, or do you go with a Taysom Hill who's just going to be like that, veer triple threat type of run option quarterback?
I think it's going to be Taysom Hill. Sean Payton just infatuated with him, has been for how long. And if you're not going to start him now, then what really is, his what's the point of paying him what they paid him on this team?
True.
Like, I just don't see where that is if you're not playing him here. Simeon, I wouldn't be surprised if Taysom Hill can't get it done in the passing game, especially when he returns Mike Thomas. They got Kamara still there and all that maybe you do see Simeon if he's able to make some of the throws that Taysom has struggled in the past and moving forward might. I don't really, Simeon just doesn't do enough probably for me right now. Taysom Hill does have a little more upside with him in the running game and everything like that. So I'd be targeting Taysom Hill if anyone.
Yeah, if I was going to target somebody at least to spend FOB on, it would be Taysom Hill, just because we've seen him do it before. Like I think he's averaged in his 4 starts in the NFL like 20 plus fantasy points or something like that I saw. So there is some upside for him. But what I'm curious about is, do the Saints roll out Simeon as their starter and then use Taysom Hill how he was being used when Winston was the starting quarterback? Because that was also pretty effective. You get down to the red zone. You still have pretty good weapons there. You had Traquan Smith come back. He scored a touchdown this week. You have Deontay Harris back. He's healthy. You have Marquez Callaway, who's been slow but steady, right? Not amazing, but reliable for their roster. Maybe not for our fantasy teams, but for their roster, like he's a good piece. Do you just roll out Simeon and then just bring in Taysom in the red zone and let him vulture touchdowns from Simeon and Kamara? I mean, I feel like that might be an approach that they use, especially with Taysom coming back from injury, but. I don't need quarterbacks, so I'm not really targeting either of them in FOB or off the waivers. But between the two, if I had to spend big money, I would be doing it on Hill, just because I feel like that's going to be the narrative of your league. Everyone else is going to be looking to grab him with money and grab Simeon for free with the off chance that, hey, he is the starter, and they'll kind of what I said, that they're going to use Taysom in the same role as when Winston was the starter. So
my only thing against that is he just suffered that nasty concussion that's had him now sidelined 3 weeks, I believe. So I think maybe they'd want to, and I hate this. The Bears, I know, did it last year with Mitch Trubisky. They use him in that, that gadget type play, and then they get hurt. And then when you actually need him in the game to play quarterback, you don't have him because he suffered an injury, being a running back. So I don't know. I think maybe they would want to proceed with caution there, but yeah, I agree with Fab on Hill. Try and sneak Simeon on ads.
Yeah, just try to get him for free if you can. All right, next up we got Carlos Hyde. James Robinson leaves the game early with injury. Not sure of the severity of it, but Hyde didn't look too bad. 9 for 32, and I think he may have had a receiving touchdown. I'm not sure. I don't remember who got their touchdown because that game was annoying as hell. I had the Dame Harris, James Robinson prop. James Robinson gets hurt. Turn off that game. That wasn't looking too good. How about Geno Smith, though, huh? Geno Smith. You want to go pick up some Geno?
I have Geno in our dynasty.
You didn't start him, though.
No, I benched him for Kirk this week. I've been starting in the past 2, but Burrow and Kirk, they look too good to play Geno.
I hear you.
I do think with Carlos Hyde, though, I do think James Robinson is going to be fine for week 9. I did see something come out from Schefter that it wasn't anything major.
For Robinson?
Yeah, he should be able to come back week 9. Great.
I still recommend going out and getting him.
Oh, definitely.
James Robinson owners specifically.
Mm-hmm.
If you weren't like concerned before, he'll be fine. If he gets hurt, I'll grab somebody else. This is when you get Carlos Hyde for free. Then hopefully that will kind of diminish the the chatter for Carlos Hyde in the fantasy world here, and people won't be spending too much on him. Well, I wouldn't mind in my leagues if they spend a lot on him, but that just means you can go out and get him at better value. I had stashed him in one league that I had James Robinson, and another league I was just the exact same thing. Like I just didn't care. Like if he gets hurt, he gets hurt. That's it. I'll find somebody else. So, all right. Next up, we got is Rashad Bateman. Bye week ad here, coming off week 8 bye, but he's been solid. 6 targets back-to-back weeks. His first couple weeks in the lineup, going up against Minnesota. We saw how Minnesota looked up against Cooper Rush and those receivers. So I like Rashad Bateman a lot. I mean, the Ravens have been passing the ball pretty frequently. Lamar Miller is becoming more of a downfield quarterback. Love to see it. And I think Rashad Bateman is going to be a big part of that evolution, or that continued evolution. So firing up Bateman in all forms and formats this week. 30% rostered, go out and get them. If someone dropped them for something that they needed on a crazy bye week, see how some of these rosters look, like 4 or 5 buys in a week. I think he's definitely worth it. I would be even willing to spend some money on him. Any objections, Steve?
No, all earlier this season, I'd been stashing Bateman on my IR when he was missing time. And
Nice.
against that game against the Bengals, I wish I would have just started him 3 for 80. He's going to be a big part of their offense because they want to take some of the load off of, Hollywood Brown and Mark Andrews and Lamar's legs all the time. So I think that he's a must add on a good offense
absolutely.
too. On a good offense, you want a piece of that.
Or just a buy low. If somebody already has him, he hasn't. The production isn't like elite yet. The targets are there, which we'd like to see, especially in that offense. But I think that's just going to continue to grow. He would definitely be a candidate for me, like a high end buy low candidate to really ride out the rest of the season. These matchups look great: Minnesota, Miami, Chicago, Cleveland, not amazing. Pitt, not amazing. Oh, actually, their secondaries you've been able to throw on them. So Green Bay, a couple games after that. I think he's going to be solid for the rest of the way for the Ravens. All right. Lastly, this guy's been on this list for 3 weeks in a row, and people just don't figure it out. I don't understand. Yes. I stashed this guy on his bye week. Last week was when I picked him up. He's been on this list of ours for 3 weeks running. Jamal motherclucking Agnew. He outsnapped Laviska Shenault this week. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I have no idea who the 1A there is. They got Dan Arnold, who outsnapped Laviska. They got Jamal Agnew, who 12 targets this week. 12 targets? Yeah. My God. 12 in his last 3 games. 12, 6, and 7 targets. And he's had at least 5 catches in every one of those games. 6, 5, and 6. 38 yards this week and a touchdown. Previous game, 78 yards, no touchdown. 8.5, 9 points, 14 points. Like, why aren't people picking this guy up?
Yeah, Urban Meyer really likes those like quick guys that can run H-back and back there a lot and get dump off passes just crossing over the field. So and that's what he can do. He's very shifty. I mean, he's a great kick returner. So he kind of does what Devin Hester when he made the switch to wide receiver. He just kind of does that. Get the ball to him in space and he can make something happen.
Wheel routes till I die. Jamal Agnew, like that's just all he's running, just out and ins, wheels. Like he's very fast, like you mentioned, has great speed out of the backfield. I don't know. I feel like they're going to continue to use this guy. Like I said, he's outsnapped Laviska Shenault. I don't know what Laviska Shenault did to get into the doghouse, but apparently Urban Meyer just hates the rookies from last year, or maybe this is Laviska's 30 or now. I don't remember, but no James Robinson love, no Laviska love. I don't get it. But Jamal Agnew, he's there. I started him this week, actually. It was pretty important since Mo Alley Cox and Emmanuel Sanders laid a freaking goose egg. So I did have him in a lineup this week. I don't just back it up with waiver wire talk. I get him in there too. I guess that was the whole point since I got him on a bye week. Hopefully I could use him, right? All right, let's try some rest of the season battles here. We're looking at player A, player B type of situation. Which one we would prefer to ride out the rest of this season with in fantasy. So first up, we've got Ryan Tannehill versus Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz has been kind of tricky the past couple of weeks. He had, the sliders all the way turned down up against San Francisco, the interception sliders. No one could just grab an interception to save their life. And this last game, he kind of blows it. They're in multiple times they're in position to win the game or end the game, and he throws interceptions, kind of reverting back to that old Carson Wentz. Tannehill, obviously missing Derrick Henry going forward, not great, but I feel like that makes the offense a little bit more vertical, and it definitely lends more to the volume for us in fantasy. So, Steve, who would you rather have here, Ryan Tannehill or Carson Wentz to ride out the rest of this year?
It's crazy because when you first sent this sheet to me, I was like, for me, it was an easy Carson Wentz because if he could just stop making some of those dumb turnovers he's had, this week, and then the should have been turnovers he had against the Niners. Granted, some of that was due to rain.
True.
He's just a very consistent player, and it seems like him and Pittman are really blossoming together. And I like him, but I mean Ryan Tannehill. With no Derrick Henry, they're going to have to rely on Julio Jones and A.J. Brown to do a lot more in this offense. So I don't think Tannehill's bad. The reason why I still lean Wentz a little bit is just because of his upcoming schedule. He's got the Jets, Jacksonville. Then he has 2 tough ones against Buffalo and Tampa, but then he goes against Houston. So those are 3 those three teams are some of the best matchups you can have, across the league. So I am going to still go Wentz here.
All right. Yeah, looking at Tannehill, he's got the Rams on deck, Sunday Night Football, New Orleans, Houston, New England, Jacksonville. Like that stretch is pretty solid, for the quarterback position. But the Rams and New Orleans coming up, not so amazing. I feel like I just trust Ryan Tannehill more. Like when you watch the tape, I'm not expecting the Colts to have a home run up against the Jets either. Like that front seven for the Jets is pretty significant for them. It's like the identity of their defense right now. They've got a great first push. The Williams brothers are tearing it up. CJ Mosley's on a comeback. Like he should be up for comeback player of the year. Obviously going to be outshadowed by Dak Prescott, but that front group for their defense is looking strong. And that's typically when Wentz is making those mistakes, is when he's getting that pressure, he's rolling out. He's not like a roll and throw out quarterback. He's always trying to make that damn extra play. You know what I mean? Like he's always trying to look like the MVP, but he winds up taking a sack, fumble. Early in the season, he had issues in the red zone, like, just finishing drives, protecting the ball in the opponent's red zone. So I'm going to still go Tannehill here. Maybe it's just like overall experience, not just this year. I just feel like I trust Ryan Tannehill more. He also hasn't hurt me as much as Carson Wentz has in the past. Like Carson Wentz is not kind of my shit list. So the Wentz God. Jake never lets me forget who the Wentz God is. That's for sure. All right, next quarterback battle here. We got Mac Jones versus T-Law, Trevor Lawrence. I feel like this one's pretty easy. Is it Mac Jones? I mean,
okay, so that's
very, very good.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I was kind of going. It's tough, though, and then you see him in a game that they won 27-24. He only puts up 7 points. That's a little tough, but I think he's on the better team and probably playing a little bit less or playing more mistake-free than Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, you can pencil him in for one interception a game easily.
He took kind of a hit this week on the completion percentage. He was 18 for 35. His previous games have been much, much better. Last week, 24 for 36, 15 for 21, 23 for 30, 31 for 40. Those weeks were much, much better. I'm not sure if this still holds up after this week, but he was in the top 5 in the league for on-target percentage for the quarterback position. So I like Mac Jones a lot more here. Trevor Lawrence has the volume. They're going to be playing from behind more. They're going to be on the field a lot. The only problem is they come off the field just as fast as they go on. I can't trust the Jaguars offense whatsoever. The play calling, the usage of their production players like Laviska, like we were just talking about. Jamal Agnew is like the guy now. I don't know what it is. Carlos Hyde always gets way too many touches. So to me, it's just I trust Mac Jones in that offense more, the Patriots offense. So give me Mac Jones there for sure. All right, moving on. We got running backs. Alvin Kamara, obviously losing Jameis Winston. I don't know if that's going to hurt a little, or what. But Alvin Kamara versus rookie Najee Harris, who's been absolutely tearing it up. This is a tougher one for me. I lean Kamara, but I feel like if Taysom Hill really takes over as quarterback, that's going to be hurting him. That's going to be taking away more red zone touches. That's going to be taking just rushing attempts in general. And this year, Kamara's been taking more attempts than he has normally, based on the game plan. Like Winston hasn't been able to hit him out of the backfield like Drew Brees. So let's run him more up the middle. Let's try to get him on the outside of the numbers. I'm not really sure what to expect going forward from that offense right now because we don't know who the quarterback is going to be. So Alvin Kamara, Najee Harris, what are you thinking here, Steve?
I'm going to go Najee Harris. There's a few things that I just have to be a little bit worried about with Kamara. Goal line carries for him. He just cannot get that ball in there. It seems like so forced all the time, and they'll give him 2 carries. Like he gets the workload. And now you see Ingram come back. I do think you see him kind of eat into some of the work that Kamara is going to get. He looked decent on Sunday in his return. Najee Harris, I mean, there's no one else there that's going to be really taken away from him. He's going to get it. And his volume is there. I mean, one week I think we saw him get 15 targets, and as a running back, that's absolutely insane. The Steelers, I think they're gonna have to call his number a lot for them to be successful with some of the injuries that they face on offense. So I'm gonna go Najee Harris here.
If Ben Roethlisberger was the quarterback of the Saints, I would say Alvin Kamara. But Najee Harris is just getting leaned on by the old man. It's like his cane. You know what I mean? Kind of like J.D. McKissic to Alex Smith last year, right? Just holding him upright, And you look at the rushing: 26 for 91, 24 for 81, 23 for 122. that efficiency is there and it's growing. Early on, you didn't see it as much because this offensive line was really, still trying to click with each other. First couple of games of the season, 16 for 45, 10 for 38, 14 for 40, 15 for 62. That was his first 4 games. Since then, he has at least 80 yards rushing in every game and a rushing touchdown. Or not in every game, but 3 out of the last 4 games, he has a rushing touchdown. You mentioned it already, the pass catching work. Like, he is getting leaned on, and I absolutely hate to say it, but he is the guy to own between these two going forward. If looking whether it's trades, buy low, sell, you could probably work Alvin Kamara and a piece in for Najee Harris. Honestly, you might be able to get somebody to do it straight up. If you just target if the Saints fan in your league owns Najee Harris and you got Alvin Kamara, fire away. I would definitely be after that. Next up, same team, Antonio Gibson or JD McKissic. These guys are about 3 fantasy points in separation. Gibson does have a small lead here. It's probably just from the touchdowns, but Gibson just doesn't look like himself. He hasn't eclipsed over 65 rushing yards since week 2. Week 1 and 2, he had 90 and then 69 rushing yards. He hasn't eclipsed 65 since. 63, I believe, is his highest since then. He has just 3 rushing touchdowns this season. This is absolutely not the Antonio Gibson that I was expecting this year.
No.
I think this shin splint issue is affecting him, more than we are being allowed to know, or more than he wants us to know. JD McKissic, slow and steady, kind of like that Najee Harris getting leaned on. What do you think here?
Yeah, I was huge. I was huge on Antonio Gibson last year going into this year. He was very good, and I think he can do that role that McKissic gets, a lot of the pass catches out of the backfield. But they just give that work to McKissic. And right now, they're also not a very good team. The football team's not very good. They're playing from behind. So that's where JD McKissic gets in, and he's getting a lot of the pass catching opportunity out of the backfield. And that injury, it's probably still lingering. I don't think that there's no way Antonio Gibson, he's barely cracked the 50-yard mark in the past 3 weeks. I got to go JD McKissic here, as much as it pains me. That's also not really saying that I'm like 100% sold on McKissic. But with these two up against each other, I think McKissic's the one.
Oh man, look at the next couple of games. Like they're going on a bye this week for week 9. They come back. They have Tampa Bay, one of the best rushing defenses, or at least against that front 7, right, going up against the run. Then they have Carolina, another really good group up against the run and the pass. Seattle, if they do anything well, it's up against the run. Vegas,
and on Monday night.
Yeah, and Vegas, now there's a hole, right? Like there's a hole for you to run on. Dallas and Philly after that, like. I think for the time being, it's definitely going to be the JD McKissic party. I didn't get an invitation this year, but I'm still going to try to sneak in. I'm going to try to get some value. Yeah, McKissic, his last 3 games, 8, 6, and those are targets. So 8, 6, and 10 targets, 8, 4, and 8 catches. Wow. Like,
yeah,
wide receiver 2, if not wide receiver 1 numbers for receptions, at least. Like, there's not really much to dislike there. We got Driscoll back saying now you need to. Breeze really was a man. Saints needed him. Yeah, I think they take him back this week for sure. I saw Mark Ingram was talking about wearing number 9. He said it was a little bit too soon. I feel like it's because he's trying to still coerce him out of retirement. Thought about packaging a Kamara for a Harris trade. Yeah, I would absolutely look at that, man. Especially if you know someone in your league that really loves Kamara and they own like one of those guys. Like heck, you might even be able to get McKissic and Najee. I mean, I think that'd be kind of a tall order there, but. It just depends on the owners. You never know. All right, next up here we got receivers. Never thought I'd be saying this one. Cordarrelle Patterson versus DJ Moore. PJ Walker could be quarterback. Sam Darnold could be quarterback. I don't know who the quarterback for the Panthers is going to be. Cordarrelle Patterson, slow and steady. He's getting it done. What do you think here? Can DJ Moore, revert this production back to like weeks 1 through 3?
I don't even think it's all DJ Moore. It's what the hell is going on in that Panthers passing game. I mean, they have just really, really struggled from the first 3 weeks when Moore was having success. It doesn't matter who it is in there. None of them are having success. So I think it's more of an indictment on Sam Darnold than, say, DJ Moore. Patterson's been probably number 1 ad this entire season, just because like no one was going into the season drafting Patterson unless you play in like a kick returner league or something. But yeah, I think Patterson's the one here with Ridley stepping away for a little bit. We don't know how long that'll last, So Patterson probably takes a big bump there. Mike Davis also.
Yeah, he with Ridley leaving, I mean, all directions point to Cordarrelle Patterson having a huge finish to this season. And man, what a shame that is. Like, I feel for Calvin Ridley, whatever he's going through. Like, you tell your boss, like, hey, I can't work anymore. Like, that's it. Like, and it's football. Like, you get to go out there and play a kid's game. Like, it's got to be pretty bad feeling for him. Hopefully he comes back soon. I own him in fantasy, but end of the day, just want to see these dudes get right. Like, we're still fans of these people in real life. So,
yeah.
Even Carson Wentz, Jake, I know you're in the chat there watching, wish Carson Wentz all the best, but he's still a bastard. All right, another same teamer here. We're both agreeing on Cordarrelle Patterson. Another same teamer here. We got Amari Cooper or CeeDee Lamb. I expect Dak back this week. This week would be like the top. They're going up against Denver. It's a little bit of a tougher matchup, but I still expect him to be back and going forward. Let's say he's not, though. Let's say for like the next handful of weeks he's not. Who would you rather have next couple of weeks? Would it still be Cooper, who kind of had a better game last night?
Yeah. So if Cooper rushes in the game, it's going to be Amari Cooper. Just because I think you saw down the stretch there when it got into that. I don't know if it was it had to have been the winning drive. They were just calling his number, Amari Cooper's number more. He was getting just easy curls and then taking him upfield. I think he's just kind of more of that veteran guy. I don't hate CeeDee Lamb, though. I mean, he really eats away big chunk plays all the time, and he's very athletic. But I think I like CeeDee more once Dak is back. So if we're going with Cooper Rush at quarterback, I got to go Amari Cooper. Dak back, I'm going CeeDee Lamb.
I'm still going to go CeeDee Lamb, actually. I just feel like he's been more consistent so far this season. Cooper, I think he was due for a big game. Like, he hasn't really had other than just grabbing the single touchdown, the yards haven't really been there. The high catch totals haven't been there, right? So I still feel like CeeDee's the way to go. If Cooper Rush was starting somehow more games than Dak going forward, I think that Cooper would probably finish, at least from this point forward, with more points. But it would still probably be close, as we saw both of them still go over 100 receiving yards last night. But I think CeeDee Lamb is still the guy to own there. Just like the type of routes that he runs, across the middle, around the line of scrimmage. They get him into motion quite a bit. Cooper's still like that big body X receiver, going to be pushing him down the field on the outside. So I think Lamb could still be leaned on as well, even with Rush in, just the first week with it. We got not back-to-back plays, but Hill, Kelsey, Hill, rolling with the stars here. We're moving the ball down the field already. Just a couple of minutes into the game, I think we're already in scoring position for the Chiefs. We're already across midfield, that's for sure. So looks like they're getting it done. We'll see how long this can last for these guys. All right, last up here, we've got Kyle Pitts and Mike Gesicki for the rest of the season. Kyle Pitts also included into that Falcons mix with Calvin Ridley going down. Should see an uptick in production or usage, but this wasn't the week. He only had 2 catches on 6 targets. Everyone was like, going off about this guy having an amazing out of this world week. Didn't happen. Same for Russell Gage as well. Thank you for my opponents who started Russell Gage this week. Very appreciative. Who you got here?
I want to say Kyle Pitts just because we've seen him at his peak. He blows Gesicki out of the water. I just think with the matchups that Atlanta has going forward, you got New Orleans, Dallas, New England, Jacksonville, Tampa, Carolina, who just held him to 13 yards on 2 catches. I think it's more Gesicki here. I know on Sunday we were really emphasizing of how much they line up Gesicki out at wide receiver in that Dolphins offense. They don't have anyone. Devontae Parker did have a good game this week. But Will Fuller doesn't look any closer to returning. We don't know anything on that situation. So I'm still going to go Gesicki here. Very close. So really only be matchup based.
I'm going to go Gesicki for what the point that you had mentioned that we talked about yesterday, just lining up at receiver. I still think that the Falcons are still pretty deep at the receiver position where they don't have to do that. I mean, they still may use Pitts at receiver every now and again, but realistically they have, they have that Justin Gage, Zacchaeus still, Tajay Sharp. You have some some veterans there essentially. Cordarrelle Patterson, still going out wide, playing running back, everything. So I think they're just a little bit deeper. The Dolphins, they're dealing with injuries, and there are going to be some guys coming back, but I feel like that's just always the narrative from them. Like Devontae Parker is going to get dinged up. Will Fuller is going to get dinged up. Even some of these other tight ends like Smith, these guys will take their bumps and bruises. They already lost Malcolm Brown to IR. Preston Williams never stays healthy. So, yeah, I'm going to go with McKissic there. A little bit more trustworthy as well. Not a rookie tight end. I feel like that narrative is kind of popping into the back of my head as well. Rookie tight ends aren't always the most reliable in fantasy. Obviously, Kyle Pitts has gotten those wide receiver comparisons. Everybody and their mother was talking about it in the offseason. This guy's going to be a wide receiver. He's got all the tangibles. Look at his body size and everything like that. Well, yeah, I get all that, but he's still a rookie tight end at the end of the day. So riding out the rest of the season, I would be more interested in maybe like buying low on a McKissic. Kind of a tough buy low. Maybe need some lower weeks. This week, not so great. The 3 for 4 had the 2-point conversion, but no touchdown. Would have liked to see the TD, especially in that game too. I mean, so slow. What was it? 3-3 at the half.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, man. It's like I'm sitting over here in the morning, like, oh yeah, the Bills are gonna crack this thing wide open.
Yeah, I was shocked by that.
Nope. They got the lead though. They got the 24-point win though. So they got the 26-11. I said 24 points. We had 25. All right, cool. I also just said that they were going to lead by 24 for like a long time. So that part didn't happen. That didn't come. Let's see. We got the Chiefs, 10:30 left in the first quarter at about the 20, 25-yard line. Mahomes running beyond the line of scrimmage, Steve. Here he goes. And he slides. Yeah.
There we go. I was getting a little nervous there.
Yeah. He drops the prop, though. I mean, but like you had mentioned, though, like, he's playing it safe. He went to the slide right away. Not always been a thing of his. He wants to get those extra yards, wants to show that toughness. But after that dig in the head, that starts changing your methods a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Goes in for a nice, easy one. Safe at second base, bringing up 2nd and 5. So we got a 5-yard gain. Not bad. Doesn't murder the prop, but it's not lovely on the first drive. Yeah, it's still the first drive. We got a long ways to go here.
Yeah.
Let's finish this drive off, though. We're at like the, 15-yard line, I think. That was a little push pass to Tyreek Hill. He gets outside. First down.
Live line, 13.5. Which way do you like that right now? Still,
it's already moved up 3 points.
Yeah. Granted, they're in the red zone.
Stay with the 10. No, I mean, I wouldn't bet the Giants on that either. It's just the first drive. We haven't even seen the Giants play yet.
Fair.
No, I don't do that. Like when the favorite gets the early touchdown, I don't make that reversion pick. When the underdog gets the first drive touchdown, then I'm like, all right, let's go. We get some better value here. Not to take the underdog, but to take the favorite. Hopefully money line or something like that. An easier pick. Let's see. We're at the 8-yard line. It looks like inside handoff. Looks like Williams. Yep, doesn't really go anywhere. A couple of yards, maybe at best 2 yards. Bringing up 2nd and goal. I like a Kelsey touchdown on this play here.
I had
Kelsey in motion, maybe ISO on the outside, little lob ball to him.
In that one, I have Tony getting 100 receiving yards. I got Kelsey touchdown, and that's a long shot parlay.
I don't hate it. The Kadarius Tony over 100 receiving yards.
Yeah, and then here I can.
All right, so here goes Kelsey in motion. Kelsey now under center. They've put Mahomes out at receiver, so we might get the Kelsey touchdown pass. Mahomes in motion, backwards lateral from Kelsey to Mahomes, and nothing exciting. He throws it into the corner of the end zone. So a trick play for nothing. Cool. You could have just thrown that to Kelsey. It would have been great.
Yeah, the way that you were like narrating that, I really thought we were going to get something cool there, like it's a score.
Nope. They had everybody reverting to the right side of the field, so you had no extra motion man to the left. That would have been money touchdown. They had every single player in motion to the right side of the field or right side of the end zone. Like, I don't know what the hell that was. Who is under center at running back? Is that Jerick McKinnon, number 1? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think, New York just called a timeout. They're going to try to get a big stop here on 3rd and goal on that on this first drive here. I called the touchdown on the first drive for the Chiefs. It's looking good. I mean, we're right here. We're knocking on the door. What do you think? If the Chiefs miss this 3rd down, do they just go for it? How everything's been going for them? I'll tell you right now, Joe Brady would. He hands down, Joe Brady would go for it. on the first drive, hands down. He talked. Go ahead.
I don't mind it. You're really setting them up with like they're going to be at their own goal line. It's going to be tough for them. So I don't hate going for it there. I just think get the early points, be the first one on the board, and then you're kind of go from there.
Josh Gordon checked in the game. McKinnon, Pringle, Gordon, Hill, Kelsey on the outside, coming back to the line of scrimmage. Kelsey not going to be targeted on this one. Mahomes bouncing around. Gets it off McKinnon's helmet, intercepted in the end zone. Wow. Julian Love off McKinnon's helmet going the other way. Well, at least my opponent who needs 100 points between Mahomes and Robinson is off to a bad start, so that's cool. That's great. I'm only up by 92 or 94, something. I don't know, something crazy.
That's
off of his head, man. Right off of his noggin. Oh my goodness. That's not
helping what's his name? Mahomes in that interception category. Yikes.
All right, we're going to head out here. Before we do, let's get over-unders for Mahomes' girlfriend and brother in this one. Over-under 3.5 appearances for both combined.
Probably over.
Okay. Yeah, you're probably right, and that makes me sick.
And I was just saying, I wish it could hit the under.
I really do. I swear, that wife of his reminds me of Russell Wilson's. Like, I'm not saying like the way that she acts or anything. She's just like the appearance, like all of it. She just looks like
100%
similar young looking lady. And sometimes, she does look a little.
Yeah, and that video of her screaming last year in the playoffs, she kind of looked like that. Yeah,
a little bit. TikTok videos are funny. The three of them. I don't know what that deal is. Mahomes doesn't look very happy about it. But
no, he did
whatever,
not.
Man. That's what happens sometimes. Nice little entourage.
Yeah, he's worth $500,000 billion.
Well, stop worrying about baseball, man, and maybe we wouldn't be looking like this year. I don't know. All right, you got anything to close it down with?
No, check us out on Friday. We'll be back with basketball.
Yes, sir. We'll be back Wednesday with hockey. 18-2 last 20, baby. Let's go. Wish I could say the same for football. I probably wouldn't even be doing this if I was hitting those picks. I'd just be like, all right, well, retire now. I just don't miss picks. Nah, I'm kidding. We always got the love for y'all. We'll be back Wednesday for hockey and Friday for basketball. Take care, be well, be good. And if you can't be good at it. Later.